Kevin, what's up?
Hey, how are you? How you
Good.
doing?
How are you? Thanks for coming
Good,
on today.
good. Oh man, thanks for having me.
I'm looking at my icon, the picture of Harley Race, and I'm looking at you, and I'm like, I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference.
Oh my God, have you seen the movie yet?
No, and I'm like beyond looking forward to it. I usually like to do things in reverse. I like to see the movie and then talk to the guest, but like I was just so anticipating this whole thing. I'm like, screw it. I'm just gonna reach out to Kevin's people and see if I can get an interview. And yeah, man, I'm super psyched.
That's great.
The 22nd, it opens up, I think, a week from today, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the 20 seconds, like the wide release. I know in some places it opens up on the night of the 21st, but yeah, 22nd.
Yeah, yeah. So yesterday I had Matthias on, who's the cinematographer for the Iron Claw.
Oh wow, yeah. I just talked to him about like through chat about 5 minutes ago, just telling him like how crazy sick the shots are. I mean, it's crazy.
He's very humble. I tried getting him to say, give me your favorite scene, give me the one. He wouldn't do it. He didn't. He said, I love the whole thing. So he did talk about Mora a lot. I felt like Mora was many scenes with her. I thought he was fond of.
That's good. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So talk about the idea that but before we get into the Iron Claw, a little bit before that, how has your journey been as an actor, Kevin? You feel like it's taken a toll on you? You feel like it's been a hard one? I mean,
I mean, that's a great question. I think everyone's journey is obviously different. I think some, achieve, you know, recognition or fame earlier or later. It just depends upon, your journey. For me, I've been at it for a while, doing co-stars and, one thing leads to another and doing theater. And, just the past like couple of years, I've got a lot bigger stuff. And now hooking up with Sean Durkin, who's just such a talent, with Dead Ringers, which was an Amazon show with
yep.
Rachel White, which was just an amazing show.
Mm-hmm.
And now with the Iron Claw, I think it's definitely going in the right direction.
Yeah, and I've been thinking about this because I feel like I asked Matthias yesterday, and I feel like wrestlers, growing up, everyone was like, "Oh, wrestling's fake," and then like, "Oh, this and all that." Now that I have a chance to process things, I feel like wrestling might be 100 times more difficult than MMA because you're putting yourself out there, and it's got a little bit of the actor's journey in there too, right? If you're a good wrestler, you're a good actor, and I feel like.
Yes.
So go ahead. I'm
So
sorry.
so to that, like for example, do you know who Harley Race is?
Of course, yeah,
Okay, okay,
yeah,
okay. Because I didn't before
yeah.
we started. But long story short is so the one scene that I'm in with Zach, and not to get too ahead of ourselves, but the scene we did, which is a championship scene, we literally shot for 14 hours, and it was so physical on us. I mean, we were literally like hitting each other, like not in a mean way, but just to make the scene work.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
get it.
I can attest to it. After every take, I was out of breath, and I mean, I don't want to talk for Zach, but he was feeling it too. It was. I can see how pro wrestling it's not easy. I mean, I can tell you that right now.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound repetitive because if people are watching this interview and the one I did yesterday, but I will say that, it's crazy, man. Like all those wonderful wrestlers that I grew up loving, like most of them are gone.
Yeah, yeah,
And I can't blame them, and I don't blame them, but like, how can you blame them when it's like you're expected to be on the road 280, 300 days a year? Like, of course you're going to take painkillers because you're getting bumped every night. Like, you can't,
yeah,
you can't ice that off every freaking day. Like, that's going to take a toll on it, year after year.
yeah. Absolutely. And I'm pretty sure back then, 70s, 80s, 60s, those guys also, hit it a little harder too, with the smoking and the, drinking the Millers, and I've heard stories. But they enjoyed themselves. You know what I mean? Because it was different back then. It was more regionalized. So they would go from like, city to city, driving, each other, and they had a good time.
Yeah, yeah. So not knowing, is it better or worse, Kevin, that you didn't know about Harley Race before the
I
part?
don't. It's that's tough to know because I don't really have any way to like gauge it. So I don't think it definitely didn't hurt me not knowing him, but
Right,
I
right.
know like once Sean reached out and the deal was the deal was signed whenever like last September. right like that day, I just started like doing research and buying the DVDs because anything I could find on YouTube, I found. But then there was like extra stuff on DVDs with Harley that, I just studied every single day. So I don't really know if it would have helped or hurt. I think it just depended upon how much work I wanted to put into it.
Right. So that's my next question. So what did it consist of the work? It's watching videos. It's watching his performances.
Yeah. So it's watching his videos. It's watching his performances. There's a famous interview where Harley's talking to the camera and he's literally calling out the Von Erichs and he's calling them punks and he's calling out like Dusty Rhodes and all those guys. That actually makes the movie where I actually do it and reenact it. So Sean had given me the heads up about a month and a half before. He's like, Kevin, listen, we're going to add this in. It's not in the script yet, but this is basically the copy. So what I did was I took that video from YouTube, took the audio, put it on my iPhone, and just listened to it every single morning when I worked out, went for a run. So I was playing it for like 2 or 3 hours every morning. So it would help me get his voice, which was, right here, like just really get his like down, his voice going. And that really helped me when it came down.
Dude, that's really good. That's really good.
Well, and like, even like his cadence, because, he's like Harley Race, like he was very soft spoken, but it was so internalized that I felt like, everything when I watched him, everything was in his eyes. And I know he went through so much grief with the car accidents and this and that. I just channeled all that into when I was, speaking about the Von Erichs and, Kevin and Carrie. So like, I was literally just internalizing it, seeing it and saying the words. And Harley didn't move a lot. He didn't do a lot of this or that, or he wasn't really showy. He wasn't like, a Flair where he's, pointing out. Harley was more like he's very steady. Look at the camera and just, this is who I am, Harley Race. So that was kind of my process. And, I thought about it 24/7, even after we shot. So it was just full dedication.
Yeah. I mean, and clearly you put yourself into it. And he was a Miller High Life guy, old school guy.
That's funny. That's funny you said that because I didn't even know who Chavo was.
Yeah.
Chavo Guerrero.
Yeah.
So when the first day we were doing rehearsals, we had to rehearse the scene. And it was this small, like, maybe kickboxing, like, studio in Baton Rouge, hidden, where no one could find him. And we're waiting for Zach to come. And there's the stunt guys there who were awesome. And Chavo was there. And honestly, because I don't know wrestling that well, I'm talking to him. And he's telling me these stories about Harley. But long story short, he was telling me a story about how Harley loved Miller High Life. And how he would have a guy, because Harley loved to drive, he would have a guy who would just crack his Miller High Lifes, hand it to him, smoke a cigarette, crack his Miller High Lifes. And then I found out this is Chavo Guerrero, the famous, Guerrero from the family. But that really helped out too. Chavo giving me his knowledge of Harley.
Yeah. And he's one of those, he's one of those guys, Kevin, that you probably would never want to have an altercation with, because this guy was a badass in every sense of that term. Yeah.
I totally, and that's what I tried to bring, to set and to when we shot that, here I am wrestling this young punk, Zach. But But once they yelled action, it was just, I don't want to call it anger. It was just like, this is the boss right here. Yeah. This is my ring. I'm the king. Yeah. And this is the way it's going to go down. Yeah. And that's it. Yeah. I don't care about the Von Erichs. This is Harley's time. So all that stuff helped, definitely.
You mentioned Flair earlier. I want to put something on the screen real quick, and then I want to talk to you about the movie itself. You talked about Flair, and you talk about Harley Race, and when Harley passed away, this was Flair's tweet.
Oh wow!
Yeah, today we lost not only a great personal friend, but in my estimation, the only one a real world champion. Harley Race, there is no Ric Flair. So I mean, this guy, super well respected, beloved. So dude, that's kind of great that you're playing him. I know you weren't a huge wrestling guy, but it comes with a lot of responsibility, right?
Yeah, so I gotta go back on that for a second. I was more of like the Hulk Hogan era. You know what I mean? Like that's where I was. So
me too.
Yeah, so I watched that every Saturday. So when I say that, I really didn't know a lot of the older school guys. You know what I mean?
No, me neither. I get that. No, I
Yeah,
get what you're saying. Yeah, those
yeah.
guys like the Harley race and like the Bruiser Brodies. Like,
Oh yeah. And when do you see
I
Bruiser
hear more of
Brody?
them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When do you see Bruiser and the Freebirds and Ric Flair in this? I mean, it's great. And the fight scenes, oh man. Actually, my fight scene with Zach was actually on Kimmel last night.
Into spandex in the new movie, The Iron Claw.
And a devastating shot to the lower back puts Kevin on the map. He's lining up a big shot and drops it and returns a punch. Connects once, twice. And 3 times hits Harley Race again. Pretty hard on that one. Kevin coming off the ropes for the clothesline. The champ doesn't budge. Kevin again off the ropes. Oh, and he knocks it down.
Wow.
Thousands of theaters a week from Friday.
Dude, you guys are hitting each other pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Did you feel like, I mean, forget about all the monologue stuff. I mean, all the dialogue stuff and all the other stuff. Did you feel responsibility to you have to get to shape? You have to get, I mean, that's another thing.
I mean, it was just one of those things. And the way Batista, it just looks so real. You know what I mean?
Yeah, dude, you have to be so psyched, man. That is so great. I mean, it's you're a seasoned actor, so it's not like this is your first rodeo, but
right. But I mean, and it's funny because I had to do ADR work in July. ADR is where we do voiceover work. For the film. So Sean was in LA, and I had to do it in the sound studio in New York. But long story short is, I didn't speak to Sean since, and I'm like, oh man, I hope I make the movie. He goes, make the movie. He goes, you're in a lot of it. I was like, okay. I mean, couple scenes, so I was like, all right, cool. And then actually for the first time saw my scenes, and that was one of them, and I was like, all right. It's just, I mean, the fight scene, Chavo, the way Chavo choreographed it was amazing, and with the whole production side from Sean to Mateus, the sound, and then to Zach, Zach gave so much in that performance. It's just amazing.
Is your speech prior to that match?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's so great.
So basically, not to give it away or spoilers, the father Fritz, wants Zach's character to step up and fight the champ, me.
Yeah.
So he finally gets the match with me, and he calls him and says, "I got the match with Harley." And then it cuts to my monologue, blah blah blah, and then it goes right into the scene with me and Zach, and it's I'm coming in with as King Race, and it just goes from there.
Dude, I got to tell you, I was talking to Matthias about this. Like, I don't know. He says it's a family. It is a family story, and everybody has their own type of story. I don't know, man. To me, Kevin's story, Zach's character, man, what a tough thing to go through. Like, 3 of your brothers kill themselves. Your youngest brother dies through electrocution, or when he was 6 years old, the little boy. I mean, tragedy after tragedy after tragedy. And then you hear Kevin in interviews now. It's like. I'm thankful. I thank God. Like, I would be the opposite. I would curse God. I would be mad as hell, and he's not.
It's crazy. And, he was down in Dallas at the premiere. And actually, his sons just sent me a message through Instagram last night. They're great people. So, I mean, because they're actually starting wrestling again, too. I think they're even wrestling tonight.
Wow. Down
in Dallas, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, he just has a great, outlook on life. I mean, and like you said, the film it's tough. I mean, it's a real life, almost like a Shakespearean tragedy. It's tough.
Yeah, and I was trying to get Matthias to give me some, like, I don't want spoilers or anything, but like I was trying to ask him, like, is it a movie that, I mean, everybody's story, I guess, in their own lives have redemption, has the arc, but is it a redemptive story? I mean, there's a lot of ways I feel like this could go, right? I feel
and he wouldn't give you anything.
No, he wouldn't.
Put it this way, I'll give you a little more.
Okay.
I think you're going to walk out of there feeling very moved. Put it that way, like, and that's not even saying much. It's just, I think it's going to hit you. I think it's going to pack a punch. Put it that way, especially with everyone's performance. And I mean, just from every single person, and obviously Zach's and Jeremy's and everyone's.
Because I guess my point to Matthias was, like, you could go with so many angles. Like, you can make this a tragic story from start to finish, right? Like,
yeah. I'll put it this way. Having read the script, but then not really. It's weird because I was looking at it as like it's a wrestling movie, but then when I watched the full thing, I go to Sean Durkin at the after party. I'm like, this is a family movie, and he's like, Exactly. So it's really more. It's more. Don't I wouldn't look at it as a wrestling movie. I would look at it as a family movie about brothers with wrestling in it.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. Yeah,
That's what it's
yeah.
about.
And I almost feel like before I saw, when I saw the trailer, I almost feel like it's Kevin's story too. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it's Kevin's story, the same way Star Wars is like Luke Skywalker's story.
Yeah, yeah.
But I feel like this is Kevin's journey. I feel like
you're going to be surprised by him. I'm telling you. I mean, just from the whole cast down, but especially Zach. I mean, he carries this movie, and he's really going to surprise you.
yeah, and the cast is amazing, Kevin. Like you're amazing for the role, especially for what I just saw. Like it's amazing how many former wrestlers are in this. How many? I mean, what a great cast, unique casting here.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many good people in this thing. That's, I mean, they got wrestlers from, Louisiana, the Wildcats. They got Michael Proctor. They got Hillbilly. They got Luke Hawks. They got, I mean, just everyone. I mean, just wrestlers from all around. They got Ryan Nemeth.
Wow,
he's a wrestler. Tons of guys.
Yeah, yeah. Now you're more than happy with your screen time. Like, is it like, were you stuck? I mean, you mentioned a little bit that you were kind of surprised how much you got, but is that ever like? Well, first of all, was it surprising to you? And second of all, when you saw the final copy, I mean, I feel like almost like when you're like at this big of a movie, this big of a an event, it's like it's almost like you don't want. I don't know. I couldn't come back to like, okay, now I got a part in a series in the show on Netflix, or now I got
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're in this rarefied air. I don't know how to really articulate it, but
yes. So it's weird because it's not my movie. Like there's the main cast, the brothers, and there's Zach, Jeremy, Harris Dickerson, and then there's Stanley Simons, who's awesome as Mike. I mean, they're all great in their own way.
Yeah.
Then you have Lily James, Moore Attorney, and then Fritz, played by Holt, who it's just amazing. So yeah, to answer your question, I'm not part of the main cast. I'm more of like the next in line afterwards. So I didn't know what to expect in terms of screen time or anything. Because when you read the script, like my part is really only like a page and a half, if that.
Yeah.
But it's much more on the screen, so that was cool.
See, Ken, I don't look at it that way, Kevin. I don't look at top of the call sheet because I feel like a lot of people will not look at it that way because a lot of wrestling fans will come see this and they'll be like, "Holy shit, Harley Race!" Like they see you like that's how they look at it, I think. I don't think they look at it. Okay, Holt's got all this dialogue, or Zach's got all this dialogue, and I don't think people will look at it like that. I don't think anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's. That's great to hear, and however people look at it, it's great to me. I just, but to go back to your question, was it cool to see it? Yeah, it was, and not only that, when we saw the premiere in Dallas, I'm not kidding with you too. The SAG strike had literally just ended. I mean, maybe 5 minutes before the movie started.
Wow,
I'm not kidding.
Wow,
so everyone was cheering. I mean, we're getting ready to see the movie. It was just crazy. It was just a culmination. So, and then getting to see this great movie with great people around, and then to get to see yourself in what you did a year later, because we shot this like the end of October, last November we shot this. I shot my scenes, so it was really cool.
That's crazy because I bet you forget sometimes. Oh shit, I did this or I did that. I did. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of a
So it's weird because within that time, like Dead Ringers, which I had shot like right during the pandemic, came out in April. So like, that was coming out. And then right when Dead Ringers came out, a week later, the strike happened. So then it was like, you went from these like great, emotional highs to all of a sudden it's like nobody's working.
Right.
So
yeah. Kevin, what was the hardest part for you in this whole thing? What did you find most difficult about playing Harley Race? Because he's like I said, he's a legend. I mean, there's no too much.
What? I just didn't think about it. My process is I don't look at it as being difficult, easy. I just look at it as I just have to become the character, and every single thing I do has to be. You have to live, breathe, and act the character. For me, other guys are different, and I don't mean that like walking around this Harley Race like that. I just mean like just in your mindset when you're going to have lunch, dinner, you're thinking about that. So I think the most difficult part was being done. Like, you're done and you're like, wow, I'm flying home in a couple of days. We shot in Baton Rouge, and you're like, wow, that was really cool. So the hardest part for me was the closure. Like, we're done. This was great.
Yeah. And people got to realize you're a professionally trained actor. Like, you're not some guy that like, hey, you look like him. Like, you have quite a an impressive filmography. You're a trained actor. Like, this, you're the guy for this, right?
Yeah. So the only guys who weren't wrestlers, other than the main cast, were really me and Aaron Dean Eisenberg, who plays Ric Flair. Everyone else who was in it are really wrestlers or stuntmen. So yeah, we were the only two who didn't really have any wrestling experience.
How much total shoot time did you have? How many days on set? Was it just that one 14-hour day?
I was there for about a week and a half, but I only shot a couple of days, And then there was the rehearsals with Chavo, which were great. He literally choreographed the entire thing, and the way we choreographed it was a little small like kickboxing studio. Went through the moves. But then when we got to the actual set, which is what Sean built, a replica of the Sportatorium, it was much bigger.
Yeah.
So then we had to do it again, and it was about a 14, 15-hour day. And you had 200 people there in the stands. I tell you what, it was exhilarating. You literally felt like you were part of a match. There's no question.
Yeah, professionally, how great is it to have a rapport with somebody like Sean Durkin who remembers you?
It's great because great because I admire Sean on so many different levels, and it's great. I look at him as a friend. I think he's a really talented artist in terms of everything. Remember he wrote the screenplay too.
Yeah.
He's a talent that he's done. This is his third film, but you're going to hear a lot about him coming up, I think.
Kevin, help me out with this one. I have a few more questions for you. Thank you for all this time, by the way. That's very appreciative.
No problem.
Yeah. I don't understand how the Golden Globes can give out the nominations. I'm like, but wait a second. Wait, the Iron Claw is coming out. I just saw Godzilla -1 last week, which is unbelievable. There's movies still coming out. How can you can't assume every critic has seen a screener. You can't assume that.
No, and you know what? I can't speak for the Golden Globe critics, but I can say, in my opinion, they probably didn't watch it. Because I don't know how you could watch it and not give it.
That's insane to me.
Yeah.
That's insane, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't know. But here's the thing too. Off the subject, when Rachel Weisz was snubbed for the Emmys, for Dead Ringers, are you kidding me?
Right.
Yeah, she got the Golden Globe nomination, but I don't know. It's sometimes I don't know if these are popularity contests or I don't know. I don't know.
That's crazy. So I usually start with this. I'll end with this.
Yeah, sure.
Who is a movie or an actor early on that you just absolutely loved before you became an actor? You're like, I love this. I'm an Indiana Jones guy. I'm a Star Wars.
No. So that's an easy answer for me. Star Wars. Luke Skywalker, Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
That's he's probably the reason why I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be Luke. You know what I mean? I wanted to have that lightsaber and be on Tatooine and go fight the dark side. That Star Wars. I saw it in the theater, giving myself away, but that was that was great.
Dude, that's fantastic. Yeah. I got to tell you, man, I'm pulling for you. I'm excited to see this movie a week from today, and I'll be able to say, hey, I talked to the wonderful Kevin Anton, and he was so great. So thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
No. Listen, I appreciate all your time, and when you do go out and when you see it, just give us be honest. But I think you're really going to enjoy it, and to end with this, I really hope this gets some critical acclaim, especially with the Oscars. Something, because it's just so good.
Yeah, and it's somebody's life story, which is it's a life story that if I made this story about the Von Erichs up, if I said, listen, there's these 6 brothers and this is what happens, nobody would believe me. They'd say that could never happen, and it's insane that it did.
It's crazy, and it's insane that Kevin still has the mindset that he has. But here's the thing, not to give away anything away, but his sons, I think his relationship with his sons is what gets him through. So that's my one hint to you about the movie.
Are you talking about Fritz's relationship with his son?
No. Kevin's relationship
with his kids. With his kids. Yes.
That's my one hint to you about the movie, and and why he is the way he is now. That's
Kevin,
a huge hint too. Huge
yeah.
hint.
All right. Kevin, did you want to throw out your socials, or did you want, or any future projects you wanted to get out there?
So my socials are all just Kevin Anton.
Yep.
I mean, at Kevin Anton for everything. Nothing coming up. I mean, only because there's been a strike.
Yeah.
So, you know, production's going to start up probably beginning of January, I would say. So, you know, I'm looking forward to the next thing. But I mean, this Iron Claw. And by the way, I love the Iron Claw graphics you have up there.
Yeah, I'm super psyched for this, man. I was researching your life today. I can't even tell you. Like, as soon as when I was looking at the cast, I'm like, oh my god. Not looking at your body of work on IMDb.
Right.
I'm like, he's a dead ringer. Like, this had to be a no-brainer. This had to be a no-brainer for Sean.
It's funny you say it, because when I was cast last year, there were, you know, always people on the internet saying, God, this role must be really small. Why wouldn't they cast someone with more credits or something like that?
That's bullshit.
And you sit back and you're like, okay, well, just wait till you see the work. Wait till you see
it before you move your mouth.
Yeah.
Hey, do you have a picture? You don't have a picture of yourself with those mutton chops, do you?
I do, man. I can send it to you.
Yeah, I'd like to see that, man. I got to tell you, because it's.
You know what? You went to my agent. Just email me. It's
okay.
I give you my email. It's wait, can I put it in the chat?
I'll tell you this. Do you want me to? I'll tell you in the chat. I will.
Yes. Send me.
Let me give you. Oh, I'll tell you. Why don't you? My email is mondaymorningcritic@gmail.com.
Hold on.
Okay.
Monday
morning critic, just like it says on the screen, @gmail.com. Because I could put it in the promotional stuff, is what I was thinking.
Yeah, I'll send you some
Monday morning.
Through.
Yeah,
I'll send you a couple shots on set where I have the handlebar mustache.
Yeah, so yeah, because I figured I could use that for promotional stuff. So mondaymorningcritic@gmail.com. If you get it there, great. I really appreciate it, man. Thank you for all this time.
No way, man. It was awesome to talk to you. You know, I just I hope you enjoyed the movie. And that one hint I give, let me know if it makes sense after you watch it.
Yeah, dude, you're the first person I'm going to email once I see that movie. So yeah. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And man, I'm a big fan moving forward now. I'm looking forward to your upcoming projects too.
Oh man, listen, I appreciate your time, and just expect a really wonderful ensemble cast too.
Oh, dude, I'm so psyched.
Great.
I wish it was the 22nd right now, the 23rd right now. You know, all right. Thank you so much, Kevin. Thank you for this.
All right, thanks so much, man.
Yep.